We're in Henley-on-Thames, where one of 6 water companies in the UK is being accused of failing to admit how much sewage is going into rivers like this. This is Nicola leaving home on the day she disappeared. She can be seen getting ready to set off on a school run, putting her dog Willow in the boot. On the ground and in the air, officers alongside specialists from a number of agencies have been looking for clues in their search for the missing mother of 2. 8 months on since the Kirkup report, families including Lynn's from Dover have been waiting to see the response from East Kent hospitals. Her daughter Becky took her own life a few months after giving birth at William Harvey Hospital. But have any significant changes been made?
When is this going to be resolved? If the leadership isn't there from the government, then the local government authorities, they just don't know which way to turn. I don't know if it's a lack of funding, I don't know what it is.
Julia's son Chris had been under the care of Essex Mental Health Services when he died in July 2020 after falling from a bridge in Southend. It's a mother's worst nightmare. Now she wants answers and those responsible held accountable.
On the morning he died, he was supposed to be having therapy. I would pick him up every day. I reasoned that he would be safer there at night because there were night staff. But I'd pick him up every day and he was due to have therapy. I was waiting to drive over and sit outside in the car. I would be 15 minutes early. Take no chances. But the therapy didn't happen and the door was thrown open and he walked out to his death.
Heart House here in Essex is one of a number of mental health rehabilitation services in the county. Now, campaigners are asking for a statutory public inquiry whereby witnesses will have to give evidence under oath into the county's mental health services. And they say this is the only way their families will be able to achieve justice for their loved ones. On the morning of October 10th, 2020, Kaylee Titford wouldn't wake up. In the call you are about to hear is her father, Alan Titford, speaking to an ambulance operator in a 999 call.
Are you able to wake her?
Kaylee. Hello.
Okay, stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next, okay? Are you right by her now? Can somebody help you there? Have you got somebody else there at the property to help you?
I got my son, but he's upstairs in bed.
16-year-old Kaylee was found in soiled sheets in her room in October 2020. Earlier this month in court, a police officer said he found her sat up in bed in a dark and dingy room. The trial also heard from Kaylee's teachers, who said she had not attended school since the lockdown in March 2020. They described how they had tried in vain to get the teenager to come back to school in the month before she died. Jurors were shown horrific images of 16-year-old Kaylee's room where she was found, and the police gave their reaction shortly after the verdict, saying it's a case that will stay in the minds of investigators for a long time to come.
Well, for the latest, we can go to our reporter, Theo Chikomba, who is in Euston for us this morning. Good morning to you, Theo. Look, there has been an arrest overnight. Of course, that means that this case is very much active and we're limited in what we can say. But I suppose a lot of people this morning will be wondering, are we seeing a rise in gun crime in this country?
Good morning. Yes, that is one thing to consider, but the police have described this as a senseless act of violence. So here on Saturday afternoon, around 300 people were here for a memorial service for Sarah Sanchez, 20-year-old who died from leukemia, as well as her mother who died in the same month. It's been a challenging few days for those who live in this community as that event took place where a car drove past and a shotgun was fired. Now, a number of people have been injured, including 4 women and 2 children. One of them, a 12-year-old, sustained a leg injury, and a 7-year-old remains in a stable but life-threatening condition. As you just mentioned, the Metropolitan Police in the early hours of this morning confirmed that a 22-year-old man was arrested just before 4 p.m. yesterday in Barnet in London, and he is currently in custody. Now, in terms of the response to this, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has described this as deeply distressing, and the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, wrote on her Twitter saying that she's deeply concerned by the shocking incident. Now, in terms of the Metropolitan Police, they are asking if anybody saw or heard anything, please get in touch. So that's the latest. We know we'll be keeping an eye on some of those people who are in hospital at the moment.
It's brought people much closer. We've now got a real fighting spirit. You know, everyone now knows what we have to do. We need to raise funds to protect the coastline, and everyone's going to work together and pull together to do that.
We need help. That's the message from residents here in Hemsby. For years, the coastline has been eroding. Now they say they've reached crisis point. Lorna is the landlady at the Lake and Arms pub, which is now several hundred yards from the beach. She's one of many asking those in power to step in before it's too late.
Had we been listened to 8-10 years ago, we would have a much wider beach than we have right now.
GB News' national reporter Theo Chikomba is here, and a certain Gary Lineker has topped the list yet again.
Yet again, as we've heard from Mark, there are lots going on at the BBC today, but this annual report comes out every single year, 240-something pages looking at how the BBC has performed in the last 12 months, from governance to finance to some of the projects that they're working on. And you also get some case studies from chief executives explaining what's been happening. And of course,